Hello and welcome to MS Report, the online Gundam talk show we insist on calling a podcast even though it isn't. I'm Second Soundwave from Channel 2S.
How's it going, YouTube? DanThePlasticMan here. I hope you guys are doing well.
And here's Max Duo. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
All right. So we've got a fun little topic to talk about tonight, but first and foremost, we've got a couple announcements that we finally got some clarification on to talk about. Number one being Master Grade Psycho Zaku version Ka. They finally showed us a full-color prototype with all the bells and whistles on it. And good lord.
You could almost call it Fuel Tank featuring Psycho Zaku.
I mean, that's already what the high grade is. This is like a fuel tank 2-pack featuring the Psycho Zaku.
And then there's that primary, well, the main booster in between the two propellant tanks. I swear they pulled that right off the Full Armor Unicorn Perfect grade. I mean, I even watched one of Jabman's streams, and he's right. If you fully load this kit up, it's going to be a foot deep at least.
Yeah, and like, I'm looking at it, and I'm pretty sure it's the manga colors because the fuel tanks are brown, and like the stripe on the like round shoulder guard is white. So I'm guessing this is the manga colors because that's pretty different from how the OVA version is.
I'd have to watch December Sky again, but either way,
I'm looking at the high grade OVA version because I just finished building that a couple days ago, and it is definitely like the white parts are kind of more silvery, and the tanks are definitely black. They're not brown, so I'm pretty sure that's the manga version.
All right. I'm going to get it, but I am, after my experience with the full armor, I'm just really nervous about this, and I can be almost beyond a shadow of a doubt say that I am not using the vinyl. No, I cannot bring myself to do that, especially over the power cables on the head, the torso, and the legs. That would just be a nightmare.
Honestly, I have like almost negative interest in it. I mean, the only thing that's tempting me to get it is the fact that the sub-arms in the high grade are kind of garbage. Like, they're just solid sticks of plastic, basically, so you can't really pose them. And, like, the only thing I'd want to do with them is, you know that scene, like, I'm not going to go too deep into spoiler territory, but there's a point at the end of December Sky where he fires a Sturmfaust from one of those arms, but it's, like, right up close to the body, and there's no way you can do that with the hands on the high grade. In fact, you can't even get to hold a Sturmfaust, so...
Yeah.
Kind of a shame since that's literally the one thing that uses those arms for in the OVA.
When I get mine, I already know that if I intend on posing it, all three of the propellant tanks are going to be gone. There's no way I would have any kind of shelf space anywhere for one, let alone all three of those propellant tanks.
That's what I was thinking I'd do with the high grade, but I actually found a way to fit it in a shelf. I was thinking I'd have to do what I did with the Full Armor Unicorn, where I just kind of stripped everything off and just left it as like a basic green frame unicorn. But no, it actually fits pretty well in the shelves that I have, so I'm just going to leave it there.
I kind of find myself wondering when I was looking at the picture, I was trying to, well, I guess they had like a little clear box or whatever holding it up, but I was wondering if they would try to have a weird little stand for holding the tank up. Because when I built the Gaplant, there's actually a stand for the big booster at the back of it. But
they did that with both the Full Armor Unicorns too, and honestly, I hope they do it with this because that's the only way you're going to get it to stand. So unless you like literally just prop the fuel tank up on the ground like you do with the high grade.
Yeah.
But then you run into the problem that I'm actually seeing in one of the images off Gundam Guy, and they've nearly broken off the back thruster off that lower propellant tank just because of the glue that they've got it wedged into. The real reason I am interested in getting this kit is not because it's the big December release. This is the first Zaku version Ka that we've ever seen, and I'm curious, based again on a stream I saw from Jabman, is this going to be the Zaku quote unquote 3.0? So I want to take a look at this and see if it's just a 2.0 with some extra flash in it, or if it is completely new.
I don't see why they'd have to make it new. Like, the Thunderbolt Gundam, I get it. You know, it needs like a really skinny inner frame because it has to have all that stuff piled on it. But the Psycho Zaku is literally just a Zaku with thrusters and fuel tanks. Like, they could do it from the 2.0 frame, no problem.
Do a 2.0 Johnny Ryden, yeah, but there's something about this. We'll see as we get closer to release, but either way, those...
Though, if it was using the 2.0 frame, they would have had enough done already just from that they could have given us a lot more than a resin prototype at Gunpla Expo, so...
I was going to comment on that. I like how that was all we had at the first one, and then now it's like, here's the entire thing with more than you expected.
Like, if it was actually based off the 2.0, they would have at least used like some parts of a 2.0 Zaku on that original prototype.
Yeah, I can see where that's going. And the skirting looks a lot more movable and posable than a 2.0 Zaku, so...
Although, granted, from what I understand, there's really not a lot wrong with the 2.0 Zaku mold, so...
I've been looking into getting one of my own based for this Raven project of mine.
Right, yes. You should get a mine layer. That one looks pretty cool.
I was actually thinking about Actually, I was thinking about either a Johnny Ryden or a Shin Matsunaga one. Maybe even a Black TriStar.
Yeah, the thing with the like R-type Zaku is, as much as I love the new leg design, it just absolutely wrecks the articulation no matter what the grade.
Well, it didn't really wreck the articulation in the Origin high grade.
Well, yeah, but that's special. That's the Origin one. The Master grade like barely goes 90.
Well, still, but we need to keep focus here. We're running off on a tangent.
Right.
So, Psycho Zaku, it is psychotically scary to me. I'll get it. I'll build it because I feel I owe that to my viewers. And again, it is only the third MG we're going to get for this year retail release. I've done my rant. Second, you've done yours. So
and it's like 9,700 yen too. Like, it's really expensive.
Yes.
It's more expensive than Sazabi. This is the most expensive retail Verka that I can think of.
Well, oh yeah, Verka, definitely. I was going to say the DO was 12,000 yen, but I guess that wasn't really Verka.
No, that's not a Verka, but the most expensive Verka. And, I mean, still, it's going to be... the only reason it's big is that cantankerous backpack.
And they, like... Okay, Tyler, does it even have that third thruster tank in the manga?
I can't even remember at this point.
I mean, it didn't in the OVA, and I can't imagine they'd use it that much longer afterwards in the manga, since that pretty much wrapped up that story arc.
Oh no, where we are in the manga, we haven't seen it again. Like, it's been referenced to. They're like, oh, we got to get it for reasons, but that's about it.
So it hasn't really been used since then in the manga?
Right now, they're kind of fighting over getting it because it's in one place, and everybody's like, we want to have this. It's been picked up by like a really weird organization that doesn't seem to fit Gundam at all. It's just like some weird like monk group, basically.
Right. So the monks have the Psycho Zaku.
Yep.
So Katoki originally designed the Thunderbolt suits, right? Like, were those his designs?
I have no idea.
I don't even remember that at this point.
These are, they're like, you know, Full Armor Gundam Verka, Psycho Zaku Verka. So are these his redesigns, or did he make them originally? Because if they're redesigns, he could have just thrown on another thruster tank just because.
Well, the third thruster tank did show up in December Sky for like 10 seconds or so, but it was there.
When? Like, when did he use that?
When he launched.
I'll have to watch that again.
Yeah, it was there for launching. I'm like, wait a minute, what the heck is that? I thought it had two propellant tanks, and then I was like, oh, it's a secondary booster.
Here's a skyscraper on its back.
Yep, because, you know, it's not big enough already.
All right, I'm on Gundam Wiki. Let me just get to the Psycho
Oh,
Zaku.
looking for the designer.
Yeah, I'm going to see if they've got it.
I guess on a random side note, while Dan did that, we also saw randomly a recolor of the Greys Ritter and recolor of the what Second
Super
was
Greys.
calling the Super Greys. Didn't really see anything else with them. They just kind of were there.
No, they're just there, and like the Greys Ritters, like silver and gold and stuff, and the Super Greys is kind of an orangish bronze, and I mean they're probably T Bondi. I have no idea what they'll be for. I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna be like something that'll show up in Steel Moon or something, or if they're just a season 2 thing. I really don't know, but they're probably just gonna be a couple more P Bondi releases, kind of like Galileo Greys and like that Greys space type thing they did. So. I mean, I really couldn't care less about them, honestly.
Yeah, it's not too important, but it was
Yeah.
kind of weird that it showed up and it was
Yeah.
just kind of labeled like, here's stuff for season 2, and it's like, is it, or is it just random recolor?
Oh, and also, something I noticed was that hang on a second.
Oh, it's cough time for a second.
Yep, just for me now, and I'm back now. So, I noticed with the Fumina bust, it actually looks like it's going to be the first one they've done that'll actually have option parts, because it looks like you can build it either with or without the jacket. And, like, there's, like, a couple different arm options for it, so that's kind of cool. There was a couple... Oh, yeah, the Zeta Plus C1.
That looks pretty nice, at least.
The P Bandai Zeta Plus C type. Yeah. Okay. Here is the mechanical designer for the Psycho Zaku, Yasuo Otagaki.
Okay, so Katoki did redesign it.
Yeah.
Which I noticed because I looked at it and like I actually did pick out the differences. So it looks like the thrusters on the shoulder shield, like the big flat shoulder pad, are actually kind of recessed into the armor while they stick out more on the original design. And it looks like he added like white circles around a lot of the thrusters. And there were actually, I noticed like a bunch of little subtle details that he added. But yeah, it definitely looks like a redesign as opposed to just, a straight up version of the Psycho Zaku, which is a little annoying because it's like just different enough to bug me, but I wouldn't be getting it anyway, so it ultimately doesn't matter. Not worth complaining about.
I think you need to just go ahead and stay with the high grade you got.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fine kit. I mean, it doesn't do anything but stand there and look cool, but at least it doesn't take up, a foot of space, so.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't even need to hold anything. Like, I have him with his open hands. He has everything on him. It's so cool.
And it's just got to stand there, and it's like, yeah, you want to mess with this? I mean, even that backpack is just nuts in Gundam Breaker 3. It's just ridiculous. But that's enough ranting.
The thing is, the Psycho Zaku kind of falls in that category of mobile suits that have, like, 400 weapons on them and only use, like, 2 of them, which always kind of bugs me.
Dan, you were saying that's enough ranting, but there's one more rant to mention. Just, I guess it's not worth ranting about, but the fact that there's yet another P Bandai coming, that Zaku 2 high mobility blue type.
Yes, the blue Raiden Zaku.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, the Zakus I don't get ticked off about.
Yeah. Well, like initially when
it's literally
when you first said something about it, you kind of said another P Bandai, and I was like, oh god, what is it? Oh, okay, it's just a blue Zaku. That's fine.
It's not even a modification. It's just a blue Johnny Raiden Zaku 2, the R2 type. That's all it is, and I'm okay with that. Good work, P Bandai. You get a cookie.
Yep.
I'll even give you a cookie for that one.
So it's not worth complaining about outside of just like yet another P Bandai versus anything else.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, all these different Zakus. I mean, Japan loves their Zakus. That's a given.
Specifically, their Zaku 2.
Yeah.
They would never be able to sell all those at retail. Like, think about all the P Bandai Zakus we've gotten, and imagine if those were all retail.
Just an entire wall of them.
Yeah, you could fill up half of all of the. You could almost fill up half the retail releases with all the different Zakus, be it the 1.0, the 2.0, and any of the premiums or convention exclusives they've given for that
Right.
suit. Still
Really,
waiting on.
the only one of those I'd ever really be even remotely vaguely interested in would be the canon one, just because there's no high grade.
Yeah. Still though, need a Zaku 3.
That's why I was like, they only like the 2 though, much to Dan's
The 3
chagrin.
isn't even a Zaku. They should have called it the Marasai 2. It's not even really a Zaku.
Well, still, that's enough for ranting about that, and we've got one more kit to talk about, which is going to lead into our main topic of discussion for tonight, and that is the new RE100, the Babu.
It's all right. I mean, I'm glad it exists. I really like the Bawu. It's pretty detailed. I'm probably not going to get it still, but I mean, it's cool. Cool it exists.
I'd always kind of forgot that it had the weird dumb gimmick of top flying part and leg flying part. Because by the time I watched Zeta
What,
Gundam,
you mean the best gimmick ever?
well, I would say by the time I watched Zeta Gundam, Victory Gundam, I was so far out of Double Zeta, I just kind of remembered that as the Victory thing. But then again, it's also used a whole lot more in Victory too, I think. So by helicopters.
And I think you see a Bawu like combined like once in Unicorn too. So
There's going to be, I would guarantee there's going to be at least 2 P Bandai recolors of it. One for just the standard green mass-produced kind, and
absolutely.
then another one for the gray Glemmy Toto colors for the Glemmy faction from later in Double Zeta.
Hey, that reminds me of my favorite thing in Double Zeta, where they had planned to have Char show up in it and do like a whole bunch of big stuff, and then Char's counterattack was okay, and they were just like, okay, well let's just have Glemmy go insane, and he's going to do kind of what Char was going to do.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, because like all series long, he was kind of like a nice-ish guy, and then by the ending, it's like, oh no, he's like abusing these fake new types and being really crazy and wants to rule the world and stuff. It's like early on, he just kind of liked the girl and was a soldier.
Yeah. Huh, I never knew that about Double Zeta.
Yep.
So the topic that we were going to talk about tonight is what each of us would want to see as an RE100 kit. We've each got 3...
Reborn 100.
Yep. We've each got 3 mobile suits selected. So, Max, we'll have you lead off tonight.
Alrighty. Number 1 for me, which is funny because apparently it misplaced a choice for second, was I thought we should get a Gundam Throne Zwei, just because it's not the high grade's not that great, and they never saw any other kind of love outside of getting those 3 high grades. And the Zwei always was my favorite, and it even ended up becoming sort of a almost main villain suit of season 1. But it just never got anything beyond the high grade.
To the same extent that like the Alvatore did, and that didn't get any kind of high grade.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, that one only really had like 1 episode, whereas at least the Zwei got to kind of show up on a questionable faction side for a while, and then Aliel Sanchez got it for a while. But I always really liked the design of that.
And then it got turned into the Arch, which was completely hideous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really weird.
Like, literally worst Gundam design ever.
So, no RE of the Arch, which I always like to just call the Archie because I don't like it.
Yeah.
Archie Comics. But yeah, I mean, it's just basically because the high grades, not super great. So I'd like to see a big, sort of high quality version of it. It doesn't have to be master grade. It might even be kind of hard to do a master grade of because it has that super thin waist, and then everything else on it's really big. I don't really know how great it would work as just a master grade. But I think it'd be a good RE. I'd be happy about that, especially since all of them seem to be like really nice at least.
Yeah, the ones that I've built, I've been very pleased with the quality and the build. I've really enjoyed them. The DJ was spectacular, and then the Ifrit was just really darn fun to work on.
Yep. Yeah, both of those are definitely high on my priority list. Eventually, I'll get to them.
Excited.
Someday.
I still do kind of wish a little bit that the Ifrit came with, at least like the shotgun that the Benex or the P Bandai version came with, but at least the two swords it has are really awesome.
I think
And
all it had in the manga were the two swords anyway. So
Yeah, I know that. I just kind of still wish it had something else almost. Just cause when I see the shotgun, I really like that, and I love the mobile suits that have shotguns, but there's almost none.
is
Which is
there
one
even
thing.
a shotgun with the Schneid? I thought that was a bazooka.
Oh, it might be a bazooka, and I'm
Yeah,
just remembering
Schneid is a
wrong.
bazooka, and then it has a bunch of knives, and that
And I'm just wishing
I
for
don't
a
think that
shotgun.
even should have really been P Bondi, honestly.
No,
It's like it was a unicorn and it did stuff.
yeah.
It was
And
cool.
when the Ifrit came out, I remember seeing a bunch of people make comments saying that they really, really wanted a Beschneid, and then 2 months later, hey, guess what? P Bandai. Oh.
Like,
But
I mean, you know what what I think I'd
he's
actually like to
dying.
see. What I'd actually like to see maybe would be the and this isn't one of my Re-100s. I'm just throwing this out there, but the Ifrit Noct is actually a pretty awesome design.
I think that was another one that was mentioned as well. People wanting badly,
Yes, it's
but that
even
become
spikier than
premium.
the Schneid.
As for my second one, I almost kind of would rather put this one as my third one because I really like the idea of it. But it kind of goes with the theme of. I remember seeing another thing saying how RE1100 stuff is also going to be kind of bigger stuff that would be expensive to make a master grade of and likely not sell nearly enough to be worth the cost of the plastic or whatever. But I really would love to see an RE1100 for the Pallas Athene or Pallas Athena. Giant big green mobile suit from Zeta.
Yep.
Oh, yep,
That
yep.
Even the high grade's already almost the size of a 1/100th, so it would be a monster.
it would be about like it would probably be the size of Sazabi, the Master Grade Sazabi Verka. It would probably be that height, if not a little bit more.
Not as wide though.
No, not as wide, but definitely as tall.
Yeah, but it's also I just love like the weapons on it. It's got all those all the cannons on the back. It's got I think two guns on the arms, basically beam launchers or whatever.
Hmm.
It's got it's one of
It
the
has
few
those things on the
round
back
shields that I
too.
like.
Like all those, what are those, like cannons or
Yeah,
funnels?
that's what I meant with the first one. It's just like little cannons.
Right.
And then you've got
I'd also
those.
like for the little claw feet. I would like those to be really really agile because I remember seeing a thing about oh, here's how movable it is. It's not really It's not really usable on the model, but it's cool.
Mm.
You've got the shield, and there's also
The shield's cool.
Yeah, I
Like,
was gonna
it's
say
actually got a
that
really cool shield.
that round shield is one of the few round shields I actually like on the model.
Mm.
Like I never cared for one of the Gyan.
Like, do you not like the Toggy's shield or?
It's okay, but I mean it's it's more of a decoration than anything because it's so tiny.
I mean, it still stops stuff.
Yeah, I just never was a huge fan of it. But I just think that would be a really awesome one. It would be a giant monster, like we were saying, it'd be similar to the Sazabi. Maybe not the fatness, but the height.
Yeah, definitely.
And then my third one is kind of a funny one because I actually have the original kit of this one, which is like 30 years old now. I know that they re-released the high grade UC one in like 2000. I don't know, 7 or 8, maybe early. I don't really remember. But I would like to see an RE of the High Gog.
Okay.
Is this one of my
I was
favorite
thinking.
amphibious
I was
ones?
thinking you were going to mention that one, and I was waiting for you to say that.
Yeah, I kind of would almost rather have the Athene be my third one just because, like, when I look at it, I kind of feel like I like that one a lot more. But I feel
Yeah, I
kind
can
of
see that.
sad with the High Gog because it only briefly showed up in an OVA, and so it's not super likely to get a master grade, I feel like. But I would
Oh, not
love
at all.
if
No.
I would love it if
I'm
they
honestly
did have
wondering what the GOG did to get a master grade. Quite frankly,
it existed in the original series.
I know, but like.
I was saying that's what it
Speaking
did.
of, they showed the silhouette of the next Re-100, and it's like 100% obvious that's the Zoc. So we now have everything 0079 at 1100.
Huh?
Yeah, they showed off the
Look
silhouette
at
for the
it close
Zoc
enough.
in like one of those silhouette boxes like they did for the Bawu. Look it up. They showed off the Zoc.
Huh. I
With
remember just kind of looking at it and assuming it was the same. Yeah.
we looking on GG or where?
I saw it on the Gundam forums.
Oh. Yeah. But I mainly wanted to say if like the high GOG, it'd be nice if you get the little missile launchers on the hands. The high grade just kind of has take off the arm and put a missile cover on it, and then if you want to switch to the missile, you have to take that off and put it back on. And at least
I'd
on
almost
mine,
like to see an
I don't know
RG
what
Zagok, honestly.
that would be
That
cool
would have
too.
more of the mechanical stuff than the
Yeah,
Re
the
100
mechanical
would.
stuff is what I would really love to have for them. But I mean, it is definitely not like mainline enough that I think it would get an RG or an MG. But yeah, mechanical
Yeah.
stuff I would love just for the sake of, in the show, the arms actually kind of extend. And on the model, it's probably just going to turn around and curve around. And it'd be nice to have a small gimmick to at least make it, I don't know, 2-3 inches longer.
Right. So that's yours?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to do my three, and I did have to literally think one of these up as Max was talking because he stole one of mine. First one here.
I think he's dying.
I'm good now. I'm good now.
I looked back. I was like, did it freeze? Oh, his microphone's on.
No. First one is going to be the Gazauman. I think I pronounced that right. I probably didn't, but whatever. I'm going to roll with it. From Double Zeta. It's black. It's got shoulder cannons. It's got like these thingies coming out of the back of the shoulders. It's big. It's beefy. And it just plain looks cool, and I want one. Like, I don't even know what it did in Double Zeta. I was just like looking through Gundam Wiki, looking for like, weird mobile suits I'd like to see kits of, and I saw that. I'm like, yeah, I'd buy a kit of that. It's cool looking.
I remember that one at all. What was it you said it was? The Gazauman?
Gazauman.
Oh, the Gazown.
Yeah. I figured I was pronouncing it wrong.
I still haven't seen that.
That's a weird one.
They made a no grade of it at 1/144th, and it does transform, surprisingly, but that's it.
That's an interesting one. That's pretty cool.
And the next one, this is going even deeper. Even deeper. Like, I don't think you can go deeper than this. So, Max and I were talking earlier about Rambo Ralph's prototype goof or whatever that they showed off at Gunpla Expo that looked super hideous and ugly. And he mentioned that it was based off of the Bugu. And when I was looking on Gundam Wiki, I found the other Bugu.
Yeah, that's what I found at first as well.
Yes, the one from G-Savior. And I was scrolling down through the tech information stuff, and it said, developing the Bugu 2. And I looked at the Bugu 2, and I was like, you know what? I really want one of those as a Re 100. I do. Like, it's a cool design.
I do like the shoulder things it has on it.
Yeah, it's got a really cool silhouette to it. It kind of reminds me of the Victory suits, actually.
A little bit. Yeah, I still remember looking it up, and I was like, man, this doesn't look like the Bugu at all. Oh, it's the wrong one. I look it up. Okay, yeah, he does have that horrible looking thing. It is correct.
And there's still no MSO2.
Yeah, there's still no MS-02.
Oh yeah, from the
origin, yeah.
Yeah. I started trying to think of that as being some other. I had no idea what it was.
No, MSO2, because there's the mobile worker, and that jumps to 3 for the Bugu. No, 3 for the Wasp, then the Bugu, then the Zaku 1, then the Zaku 2, then the Gof.
Yeah.
But no 2.
Not a fan at all of the WAF or the I guess original Bugu. I wanted to call it the fake one, but I guess that doesn't really count considering the G Savior one came out forever later.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're not supposed to look good. To be fair, I don't even think the Zaku 1 looks good, so...
I think it looks okay at least, whereas the Bugu just looks like super ugly.
It's supposed to be, though.
Even
it's
the
a
mobile
prototype
worker
suit.
I feel like even the mobile worker looks okay, but I hate the Bugu for some reason. Like
It was,
it just looks
I mean,
weird.
yes, it's hideous, but it's like the fourth mobile suit they made. They didn't know what they were doing. They were just throwing parts together.
Uh, I don't know.
Like,
It's
making
just
it look cool was on a lower priority than making it walk and making it shoot. And making the pilot not die.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, I think that was a lower priority than the first two, but...
actually looking at the picture of it. I'm thinking like maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I thought on the model the little things sticking out of the shoulders were bigger and weirder. Maybe I'm remembering it like really wrong, but I'm just thinking back on it, thinking it had like weird protrusions, but maybe I've
It
just
does. It has like these little
noticing.
spiky things. And honestly, I'm just kind of wondering. I'm mostly just annoyed that they retconned the Zuda with Gundam the Origin because that was a cool suit and looked way better than the WAF and Bugu.
I was wondering if somebody was going to mention the Zuda.
It's a cool suit. I mean, it blows up
Yeah.
sometimes, but it's cool.
Blows
That
up like
still
all
looks
the time.
okay.
Yeah, but that's only most of the time. I mean, there's still like a 5% chance you'll survive.
Yeah, if you're not in it yet.
Yeah. They
You,
just load them up in the ships without any pods, and they just kind of throw them off towards the other ship, and they just blow up. They're like the Gaga from Double O.
I remember when those came out, I was like, no, this is dumb. Don't do this. Why do
That
we have
was
millions
that
of them?
that was what was going through my head for like the last 10 episodes of Double O, honestly.
I think the Gaga was the part where it was too much.
Like, there was a point, for me it was when the Double O Gundam teleported for the first time. That was
I
the
didn't-
point where I was
I
like,
didn't mind
okay,
that
I'm
too.
done with this. I'm done with this. This is stupid. I'm going to watch the rest because I already watched this already, but...
I actually didn't mind that one like terribly much. I was like, oh, that's really cool ability. I hope it's something it never uses. Which it kind of
that was
did.
just like the biggest ass pull possible, but...
Oh, and then later on it just becomes mass mind reading for everyone nearby.
Oh, yes. And then, then we get to the movie, and of course that's where everything happens.
But
And we get,
it fails to work well.
Yes, like, what, like he, like, goes to Jupiter in, like, seconds? In, like, a giant magic flower portal, and then
Actually, no, but
comes back, and...
The thing that I had disliked, now that I think about it, that I actually kind of hated was the riser sword thing, where he's screams
Oh,
riser
yeah.
sword and it becomes like 500 meters long, and it's like,
And it just looks like a
no, this
giant
is
laser
super
that he's, like,
robot stuff.
very slowly moving.
Yeah.
Like, I had a moment like that, because I was, just before you called me, I was actually reading the second volume of Astray. And like, I don't know, I guess it was like that girl that was piloting with him. She does that thing where she, like, redirected the energy of the Astray into the hand, so it did, like, this Rasengan attack. And, like, through that whole thing, I was just like, no, this is stupid. Don't do that. Please, ever. And then he does it again.
Just to spite you.
Yep.
So Gazown, Bugu 2.
And then finally, I had to think up one, and you were talking about big stuff, so I said, you know what? Why not just take it to the extreme? Queen Mansa. It's an awesome design. 1/100. It would be big. I don't care. It would still be cool.
Expensive.
Yeah, honestly, I'd rather take a 1/144th, but personally, I think that would be big enough. Like, I mean, Kshatriya was pretty big, and Queen Mansa is bigger than Kshatriya by quite a bit, so it would be a good size.
Yeah, it would be. And of course, whenever you talk about RE100s, everybody is clamoring and screaming for an RE Kshatriya because they led off with the Nightingale. And I honestly don't...
They do realize the Nightingale is like a 100% immobile brick, right? Like, that's... It's basically a ship with arms. It's not even a mobile suit.
Yeah, that it definitely is.
I do remember one thing real quick. Something I almost listed but then kind of didn't. But if we remember, there was that random thing a while back of like, oh, here's possible REs. And one of them was the Reborns. It's like, yes, just make a Reborn of the Reborns.
I would not settle for less than a Master Grade for the Reborns, honestly. Like, it's one of a few suits. Like, I don't like Master Grades just being pumped out for the sake of making a Master Grade kit. But like Reborns is one of like 20 that actually needs a master grade, so that would definitely be up for me. I just realized I muted myself before I finished the sentence.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they made one, but it's like it's at. Well, I guess they also rarely release the Reborns ones, but it's at the point where I start worrying, like, is that going to ever get anything?
I
Maybe
mean,
maybe for like 10th anniversary, that'd be cool.
of all the mobile suits that aren't part of the main four, I'd say it's the most likely.
Yeah.
But
Part of
still,
what I think, like I actually wanted to say like lock-on suits for REs, but the oh god, I can never remember the name of the Zabanya.
Yep.
Like I would say like I would like that in a sense, but that's not true. I'd rather have the master grade just so it could open up all the missile packs.
Well,
So
they could do that with the Re 100. I mean, Re 100s are pretty close to master grades. Like, they have a lot of detail, and they could work in the missile pods easily.
Yeah,
I mean,
when you
the
come up
no-grade Virtue can turn into the Nodla. That's pretty impressive.
yeah. Well, that's also basically just like here's giant thick armor on a like almost inner frame skeleton guy. I seem to recall
but,
like it didn't move super great, but it was still pretty impressive for it. But
oh yeah, absolutely, and they could pull off a Re 100 Zabanya.
I would hope that they would with everything having nice individual parts.
Honestly, for the 00 stuff, I'd probably like to see just real grades the rest of the Season 1 suits, and like
Yes.
real grades the wing suits and the GAT suits, and that would be awesome for me, honestly.
Yeah, Dan's not a big fan of it, but I love like most of the designs in that series.
Yeah, like the 4 Season 1 Gundams are kind of the peak of it for me. Like the Season 2 Gundams, like they just aren't as iconic for me. And like, I don't even think they'd really benefit as much from the real grades since the high grades were already pretty fantastic for them. So, like, I honestly don't even think we needed the real grade 00 Riser and Quanta really. Like, they were kind of unnecessary.
Well, it's a main suit, so of course they're going to do it.
Yeah, but I would have rather they put that budget towards making a Dynamez and Curios and Virtue. Maybe even make the Virtue transform turn into a bigger nightmare than the Sinanju.
Yeah. Bandai's obsessed with their main ones.
Yeah, I really wish they weren't.
Except for the G Self. They made a big statue of that for some. They made a big statue for some reason of the G Self, but then they never made it beyond a high grade with a lot of stickers.
Yeah, well, there's a Robot Damashi which is actually pretty awesome. Like, it actually makes the design look good. Like, if they made a master grade that looked like the Robot Damashi, I'd probably like vaguely consider getting it.
Just get us the Verka of it, give it a bunch of sharp angles and stuff and little details.
That would be stupid.
I don't know. I just hate how weirdly rounded it is, and I want the head fins, which aren't really a V, to not be facing forward the way they do. Which actually, I got to an episode when I was watching it recently, and he defeated 2 guys, and one guy looks at it, he's like, "Oh, long time ago there was a thing that had that figure. It was Gundam," and it's like, no Gundams have ever looked like this.
Ever. Like,
Nope.
Not even the Turn A looked like that.
Turn A had the
Had a mustache.
Yeah.
Almost every other Gundam has had the V fin, but the G Self is V horns. It's just like, no, nothing else has ever had horns.
I mean, it looks more like a V fin than the mustache, but still.
Mustache is kind of like a U.
Yeah. Like, it's not even a V fin.
It's like a sideways C.
Yeah, it's a C fin, a U fin. I don't even know, but I saw this. It's funny because when you mentioned like Tokyo-fying the G Self, I was thinking about some of the other designs that he didn't do, like the Turn A. That would be interesting to see like Okawara redesigns of. Like, It was actually brought on because I saw this fan art someone did of like what the Sinanju would look like if it was from 0079, and that just kind of got me thinking about that.
Very interesting.
It was actually like I've only found it in one place, and I like reverse images it. Hang on. And I like reverse image search for it, and I couldn't find it anywhere else, so I have no idea what the source for it was. But it looked basically like what you'd imagine the Sinanju to look like if it was from 0079. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. And it just kind of got me imagining like other Kotoki designs like that.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's all three of yours?
Yep.
All right. So for me, this is in no particular order. I'm going to pull one out of F91, and that is the RXR-44 gun tank, the tiniest 1/100th ever.
Unless they make it 160th. Perfect grade gun tank.
Yes, I think that's actually what I said. I was like, they should just make an RE 160th of it.
To at least give it some size, because I think even compared to the HG Revive RX-78, it would come up to its waist or about mid-chest at the highest.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my old 1/100th one was smaller than pretty much all of the high grades.
Well, they could make a high grade of it. I mean, they have the Lotos.
And the Loto is kind of what it's based on, but I think the Loto themselves were bigger. Like, they actually shrunk them down for this particular gun tank.
Are the Lotos seriously bigger than the gun tank too, or whatever that is?
I think they are.
Well, like the Loto's already like almost like barely chest height on a Gundam, so like the new gun tank you're talking about's got to be smaller than
Actually,
that.
it might be a little bit bigger than the Loto then, because
Yeah,
it wasn't that
is,
short.
The Loto is pretty short.
Like, it was noticeably short next to the 1144th Gundam Wing ones, but it wasn't like that noticeably short. Like if you had put it next to a 1144th of a taller one.
No, like
So maybe it was
what
a
you're
tiny bit taller.
describing sounds pretty much dead on to the height of the Lotos, so they're probably about the same size.
All right. Number 2, I'll take one of two. Either an RE100 Taurus or the Pisces.
I would take the Taurus over the Pisces, honestly. I'm really not a fan of that suit.
Either one I would take, just because I really want a 1/100 scale Taurus, and I do think it might be a bit too much for an MG frame to pull off some of the transformation gimmicks. They could do it, but it might be as complex as the Zeta 2.0.
Might become a new victory.
At least it's all one solid suit instead of 3 different pieces.
True, but still.
I like the Pisces. It's one of my favorite aquatic ones, but
Same.
You know what? Like completely random thought. I don't even remember what it was called. Dan, you remember those mobile suits from Seed that Zapped had that were like purple and like had wings? I think they were called like Dins or something.
Yeah,
like,
they're
the ones
Dins.
they used when they were like on Earth and they were like fighting the Archangel over the ocean or whatever.
They're Dins.
I would kill to see anything more than a no grade of those, like Re 100 high grade anything.
That'd be pretty interesting.
That and the other one they had that was like green, like the Guayas or whatever it was. Those two I want to see new kits of.
All right. And finally, the next RE100 I would like to see. This one is going to be a big one as well because it would pair alongside the Palace Athene, designed again by Scirocco, the Masala.
Okay.
I love the transformation of it. It was the very first transforming mobile suit in history. And it's just a big, bad-looking villain suit. Weapons all over, claws, sabers, you name it.
I can never remember. That's also the one where the high grade they made of it, like its stand had a little compartment for holding the weapons, didn't it?
Yeah, you could put all the accessory. You could put every accessory underneath the stand.
Hmm.
I'll be getting that one sometime soon. I don't know when, but I will. because I really like that suit, so it's going to wind up in the collection.
Also, just saying, Re 100 Neo Zeong and Alpha Zero. Just because.
Let's have another giant, big, huge, fat one.
Yes, and the Alpha Zero would be a P-Bondi modification of the Neo Zeong.
Hey, they'd be happy. They get to release more.
It would be. It would literally be like a $2,400 kit.
It would probably be $700, $700 or $800, honestly.
But I'm talking like the P-Bondi one. Like, okay, the Neo Zeong high grade was like 250 or 200 or something like that.
It's right around
the Re 100. The Re 100 would be at least $5. The P-Bondi one would have to be, like you said, like $700 or $800, and then shipping, which would be like another $80.
Well, P-Bondi usually ends up being like double the amount.
Well, yeah, so it'd be like three. So it'd be like 6.
I mean, over double actually.
Yeah, so it'd be close to 1,000. Like it would probably be cheaper to just like fly to Japan and like pick it up there and take it home.
It would be. But that's it for my 3 choices.
Or it could like commission NASA to make one for you.
Yeah,
or one day Bandai will make a upgrade to P-Bondi, which is even more expensive, and they'll print even less of them.
Well, yeah, they already have those. They're called Gunpla Expo kits.
Hey, that reminds me. I recently saw Zaku Aurelius did like an unboxing of the clear not Sinanju, what am I saying? The clear Sazabi Verka. But when I first looked at it, I kind of misread it, mislooked at it. I just looked at it real quick when I was at work, and I thought, or not, no, it wasn't work because I can't see YouTube there. I don't know. I just looked over it really fast, and for a moment I thought it was a clear like RG Sinanju for some reason. I was like, why?
Mm-hmm. That is a disaster waiting to happen. Like that's how I felt when I saw like the clear Zeta. And yes, there's a clear real grade Zeta. I pity anyone who attempts that. Like honestly, considering how terrible the Zeta frame is and how it basically just breaks down after you transform it, I want to see them use it to make a real grade Gaza C with so accurate disintegration action.
I just feel like the real grade Zeta was too small to have that crazy complex of a transformation. Like outside of that, I really love like all the detail that it has. Like every time I see a picture of someone where they have like super detailed, it's like, oh my god, look at this thing.
It was the RG frame that killed it because you have after you break them in, they do loosen up a little bit, but usually there's enough there holding it together that it's fine. But the Zeta just didn't have enough like secondary and primary joints or whatever, so it just would fall to pieces practically.
Yeah, but it was also like it was being much smaller and like such a complex transformation, since like nothing else has really kind of been.
If it had more of an assembled frame, it probably would have been not terrible. But as it is, it
is a shame because like I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, I want to get this one, and then everything I read about it makes me just kind of no, maybe not.
Zeta never.
Oh.
No, I'm not going to get that one.
Zeta never. Sinanju probably never. I mean, unless you just put it somewhere and leave it there forever without touching it, or letting the wind touch it, or the air touch it.
Well, Max is going to be building one fairly soon.
Literally put it in space.
Yes.
Max will be building his fairly soon.
Suit only.
Max is going to be building his fairly soon. So I'm going to wait on a progress report and from him to decide whether or not I pull the trigger on it. Right now I'm sitting at a definitive no.
Yeah, same. I'm really not interested in it.
Yeah. I remember I told Dan about this earlier today. I was looking at the Gaijin Gunpla site at work.
Yes, and how he was trying to defend that piece of garbage.
Yes. Well, I remember like reading through it, and he said it really sucked, and so he was like, "I'm gonna build a second one and be extra careful." And he said like half of the problems disappeared, so I don't know what all he had wrong before.
It's like 2 out of 12 problems that he fixed. That was ridiculous. I hated that review of it. Seriously,
my favorite thing
he was acting like Gaijin Gunpla was the only guy that said it wrong. I found like 8 different reviews on YouTube that all had the exact same problems, and the only other review I could find defending it was the Gundam Planet one. So
I just want to say, like, one of my favorite things looking through his review was like there was one post he had where it was just kind of hanging on the stand. He said, "This is my favorite pose," and I was like, "What in the?" Because a lot of times he will just put them on the stand hanging limply, and I've always wondered why. And Dan said something like, "Well, maybe that's the best pose he could manage with it." And then I looked to the end of the review, and there's one where he's actually like semi-dynamically posed with the beam saber out and everything. I'm like, this is like 10 times better than his favorite pose. Why?
yeah, I don't know. He just has weird taste.
Well, that's it. That's it for my RE wish list, guys.
So
Yeah.
should we shift on into kits that we built?
Yeah, why not? We'll cover
I
those
mean,
real
you
quick.
have kind of built like a pretty massive thing recently, so they probably want to hear about that.
Well, I mean, the review's up, but the full armor Thunderbolt Verka, that is finished. Thank the good Lord it is. I'm going to be working on a couple high grades just to detox.
So when are you going to get started on the Raven Gelgoog?
As soon as I set up the paint job and finish figuring out exactly how I'm going to have that balanced. I'm looking to have that done in a month or two at the most.
I definitely approve of your choice of teal. I have to say, I was very happy when I saw you. I was very happy when I saw you put that can of teal paint in front of the camera.
That's what I thought when it came out. I was like, I bet Channel's going to be excited about that color.
Yes, I am.
Now, I'm looking forward to
Since
using
it got stolen from you on the Super Grays.
Yes.
I'm just trying to figure out how much black, how much gray, and how much teal to use.
Yep.
And I'm
But
also
you're using rattle cans, so it shouldn't be too hard.
no, it won't be. And I've got a rattle can of primer, so I could put most of the inner frame together and then just work on the armor.
So you're not going to paint the frame?
Not really, no. I'm starting. This is my first full custom paint job, but I'm not delving into the world of working on the frame yet.
Okay.
Because I did reach out to him. This is kind of to be a Maverick versus Iceman against Jabman's Phoenix of Xeon. His Phoenix Gelgoog. Now he put the RG touch to his, and I'm not gonna do that right now.
Is that the red one that he uses in his thumbnails sometimes?
That's his orange and silver one, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
But yeah, I reached out to him, said, look, you've been an inspiration. I like that design. I want to make kind of a rival for him. He said, I wouldn't call it a rival, but I have no problem with you making one. So that's what's going on.
Awesome. So I built the Psycho Zaku, high grade, not the master grade. I'm not that well connected with Bandai.
You stole it.
Yes, I stole the one that's why they had to use the gray prototype. I stole their one functioning when they had built it and then gave it back to them in time for the 25th.
So, thoughts on the high-grade Psycho?
It's all right. I mean, I wish the arms did anything, basically. Because like I mentioned earlier, they can't do that one pose that they actually do in the OVA. But other than that, I'm okay with it. I mean, the articulation's horrible, but it's not too bad, generally. And I don't even have it on the stand, honestly. I just kind of prop the bottom thruster up on the ground, and it works. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I didn't put on all those little like clear decals and stuff. I just put on like the one on the shoulder with like the Xeon logo on the 96. Which is what I usually do because I don't like dealing with those little things. They just don't. They hate me.
I'm actually, even though I have the high grade of the full armor Thunderbolt, I'm not building it. I'm actually getting rid of it. Building the master grade was more than enough.
Although a high grade you can actually fiddle around with and do things with.
Yeah, but then you come into the sticker issue, so I'm done with the full armor Thunderbolt.
Yeah, I still like Dan had actually he mentioned his Raven project to me earlier today, except he hadn't really like named it. I just had seen that he put up a video and he mentioned and he talked about putting on water decals. I was like, you're going to put all the water decals on the full armor now?
No.
That has water decals?
Yeah, check my unboxing.
Oh boy.
It's at least a 5x7. It's not as crazy as the High Nu Verka, but it's pretty out there.
I guess I'll jump in. Last time we did the podcast, I had started my F91, and I just finished that this past Sunday. Well, not quite finished because I still have to put the decals and stuff on it, at least some of them. I just
Didn't you lose a part on it too?
Yeah, I was putting in one of the vents for VSBR and it flew off to the side, and I've been meaning to clean and move everything around and see if it ended up underneath something, but for now I have no clue what it is.
I lost one of the well, I guess you'd call them like kind of like shoulder strap mounts, or what they would be called on like a human-sized bazooka, but one of the three little bazookas on the back of the Psycho Zaku, I lost that little flappy thing on the front of the barrel.
I remember you saying that when I was complaining about losing that one piece.
And I lost one, and I found that I lost the other, and I didn't feel like looking for that one, so I just left it off. Also lost both of the thrusters on one knee, and then found one, and then found the other a week later. But
nice.
Yeah, I'm not exactly endeared to the Thunderbolt line.
I was okay with my Zaku one. It's all right.
Oh yeah, but that's like the lightest one out of the whole bunch.
Yeah. Which is funny though, because I think it's the only Zaku one I really care for, which is also funny since it's basically a tractor, or a color scheme of a tractor.
Effectively, yeah. And it's not particularly impressive in the show, so.
Yeah, it just kind of dies.
It's there.
Or begs for help. It says,
it's
please
there
don't
to be there. It's there to be there.
It's there to be scared.
Yep. I'm just waiting for that Rick Dom.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to pull the F91 out after a few more days and put the stickers and stuff on. I actually, for like the regular stickers, I almost used none of them. There's, I think, like the green ones for the gym, or I don't know. I don't remember what I used because there's a lot of places where it was just like, here, put a black sticker here, and I just instead grabbed out a marker and colored that in with the fine tip Gundam marker or whatever, because it's like, well, why bother fiddling with the sticker when I can do this in like 2 seconds instead? It did lose the eye sticker because at one point I was changing the setup of the head and the sticker kind of came loose a little bit. I was like, all right, let me put this on my knife and I'm gonna put it on here, and it just dropped. I looked at the floor. I was like, that's gone.
I hate when that happens. That happened to me like 4 times when I was putting those clear stickers on the RG Destiny. And they were all on like opposite sides of things too, so there's so many places on it where there's like a sticker on one shoulder but not the other.
At least in the F91 I'm not terribly upset because it doesn't seem like horribly noticeable or unnoticeable that it's there on the eyes. I guess just because it's got kind of a small face and the helmet it has kind of covers that a bit.
Yeah, you don't really see the eyes.
Yeah, that is actually one of the other things I'm not a huge fan of on it, that the helmet's super loose. You can't really tilt the head back because the way the thrusters are, the helmet just kind of touches them immediately.
Right.
And I always forget that I don't like these older master grade hands because you can't make them ever grip anything super well, even with the peg.
I can't even get the 2.0 hands to work really if it's anything bigger than a beam saber.
Yeah, like I would love for them to work great because I love the idea of like having fully posable hands, even though I would never not have a weapon in them. So yeah, it's kind of awkwardly, the rifle's kind of aiming down weirdly right now. The bazooka's on the shoulder,
okay. I used to like the articulated hands, but honestly, having messed around with them, I find myself only ever wanting to either have them hold a weapon or just awkwardly crumpling them into a pseudo fist. And in hindsight, I'd probably just prefer to swap out hands on pretty much everything.
Yeah. No, I'd say I definitely like. I super loved and was excited about them before I messed with them, and then it was kind of like, oh, these aren't that great.
No, not really.
But other than that, I finally started the one that I took to the beach and never touched at the beach because I didn't have the free time I thought I was going to end up with. Because thankfully people stayed another day rather than leaving early.
Yes.
But I started my Mark II Titans, Revive, which is actually almost fully done now. I've got the upper body, the arms, a leg done.
Yep. So basically just weapons and another leg at this point.
Yeah, make the waist the legs, and then weapons and a little backpack.
Yep.
I
So
like
one other thing I actually did today was I finally got around to gluing the peg on the backpack for my build strike because that thing broke a long time ago. Like, it's so stupid how they had the backpack have the stand connector instead of the underside of the mobile suit. Or rather, the stand they give you plugs into the backpack, so like the whole kit kind of just hangs off that peg, and it just snapped. So I finally got around to gluing that back in. Or cementing, rather, because glue probably wouldn't hold.
Sorry, guys. I'm getting ready to drop. So.
I think it's funny. You seem like you get the tiredest during the podcast. You just kind of start like by the ending of them.
Well, this is also I've had a day at work, so if we can pick a day where I don't have...
You're like the only one of us that like can't stay up till like 4 in the morning.
Because I was up last night till about 11:40, and then got up at 4:50 to work out, then went to work, and here I am still fine.
Yeah, and I'm actually, if I'm actively doing things, I can stay up really late in the night. So.
Yeah, once you start doing, or no, not even when you do nothing. When you do something stupid like you're at work, or you're say maybe doing like school stuff or searching through jobs, anything not enjoyable. Like I would enjoy staring at a wall more than those things.
Yeah,
so.
Like if I'm like literally doing something like physically active, I can stay up till like 4 in the morning. Otherwise, I kind of drop off around midnight.
Yeah. But Dan's dying. I'm getting up early again tomorrow. So I guess we are pretty much at a stopping point. There's nothing else to really cover.
Not really.
Unless you just want to, like, listen to me ASMR coughing for an hour.
Well, ASMR is supposed to be relaxing. I always remember the first thing I heard. That's not relaxing. The first thing I heard of the ASMR stuff was like, oh, yes, people tapping light bulbs. Like, what?
I know. I heard about it from a friend, and he is into, like, a lot of weird sort of semi-sciencey stuff like that. So I just kind of blew it off, and then I completely randomly found on my own and forgot he mentioned it, and it just weirded me out so hard.
Yeah. I looked at a bunch of random ones out of curiosity, and there's one that's like, here's a bowl of ghost stones, and the person just kind of picks them up and drops them over and over again for like 40 minutes straight.
Yes.
I feel like I'd kill myself if I tried to make one of those. Just make like a 2-second or 2-minute clip at most and then repeat it.
Like the whispering ones are the worst. Really, for me.
That's
just creepy. That's not relaxing. That's
they
creepy.
put that in horror movies.
I know, like if I get like putting that on, just before you sleep, so it's like something relaxing and white noise to listen to. But somebody whispering in my ear is not relaxing. That is not going to help me sleep.
No. It's mysterious.
Maybe we could do ASMR gunplay building on one of our podcasts. Just clipping and the sounds of nubs being shaved and sanded.
Yeah, here we go. Just drop the piece.
Yes. So relaxing.
That was a knee. I feel like even like mentioning the ghost stones, when I think somebody made a video of them just like randomly putting them on the board. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we are talking about hitting things and making noise now, so it's probably
yes.
closing time.
Let's end the slow dying death of this podcast episode. It's not even a podcast. Like, can we just call this like an internet talk show at this point, since it's really not a podcast?
I still keep intending to try to set up like a thing on like SoundCloud and whatnot. I've just never really put the time in that. It's like,
Like if podcasts were Gundams, we'd be the Ground Gundam.
we also do have a pretty irregular release schedule.
No, we're not even the Ground Gundam. We're like the Hazel Custom. We're just like a Jim Quell with a V fin, hoping no one notices.
I like when you occasionally see like Hazels that someone has made. It's like, is that new? No.
Nope, just a Jim Quell with a V fin.
Yep. Well, I guess it's time. This is Max Duo saying bye-bye and good night, or whatever time it is for whoever's listening to this.
I'm Second Soundwave, and I'll.
Second ASMR.
Yes, hang on. I'm Second Soundwave, and I'll see you next time, I guess. Good night.
And this is Dan the Plastic Man. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.